Well, I think just the fact that our players had a chance to mature a little bit. We're extremely young. You know, we had a lot of young players get a lot of reps, quite a few ABs for a lot of freshmen. We had some sophomores that had big roles for us last year, had similar roles this year, and some that didn't have great roles last year had bigger roles this year. So it's the continuously growing effect that we're getting with those guys, and experience. Experience is worth so much. You can say that being a little bit naive to what's going on is a good thing, but also experience gives you a sense of a relaxation feel where players can kind of back off a little bit and they don't have to stress as much because they've been there. They've been in that moment before, and we got that this year. And so that's a positive thing that we can build off of. I was just proud of them. Those guys, each one of those pitchers was battling an injury. Braxton was coming off of Tommy John. He's a little bit over a year removed from Tommy John surgery, and he wasn't who he was in the past, but he battled his tail off, and that's who we're going to get with him. And then you went to Travis, and Travis is coming. He's got a labrum tear that he pitched through for the last 5 weeks of the season. The tear happened earlier at the end of last year. Decided not to have surgery, kind of rehabbed it, and they put him in a situation now where it kind of stuck its head back out, but he was able to battle through it and do what he did. He had PRs on the velo side. His numbers were better last year for him, but the way he competes is second to none. And then obviously Clayton Banks has had two arm injuries, and he comes out and he kind of had a tough one at the beginning. Kind of like it got away from him a little bit. But I went out and talked to him. I just said, "Hey, man, now's the time. like we got to cut it loose. Like now's the time. Like we got to leave it all on the mound right now." And sure enough, he comes back and he strikes the next two guys out. Yeah. It was huge with bases loaded. Yeah. We had bases loaded with one out, and he strikes the next two guys out. And then Seth came in, and Seth's thrown really well this year. He's done a good job with his role in his situation, and he's coming off of an arm injury too. And so he would have days where he would feel really good, and then he had to have days where he wouldn't feel as good. But you know what? This weekend he felt pretty good. And so he was able to come out and he persevered. He had the grit that Seth has is second to none. That kid, he really is a fighter. And all four of those guys, really found a way to dig down deep and just battle. So Coach Adams is, he does a great job. He's committed to the program. He's a guy he kind of makes light of things a lot of times. He's kind of, he does a really good job of filling out the room, and he can communicate with anybody, has a relationship with all the guys on the team, does a great job on the recruiting side for us. And for him, he's just a young coach who's constantly molding to be better. And that's the one thing I do appreciate with him is he's constantly trying to find ways to get better. And that's the progression of us as a staff is we're young, and we've got to continue to grow. And Coach Adams is always working to be better.